Just like back when most of us were younger, you had to lick the envelopes. Now you don't have to do that so much. Some of them already have the sticky on them, and you just peel the paper off. But people found out that there were ways to steam open those envelopes. Get it moist, but not just dripping wet, and then you could take it open, and then you could reseal it. But for the messenger to come with an open letter in his hand means that he's read this, and he's going to be spreading it, and everybody else that hears from him, he's going to have it, straight from Sanballat's mouth. And this is a letter that is going to be sent to the king. And this letter is full of lies. That you've only built the wall because you're planning on rebelling against the king, and when you're secure behind your wall and your gates and they're all replaced, then the rebellion is going to come, and so this message is going to be sent. You're going to make yourself the king of Judah, and this message is going to be sent all the way to Babylon, and they're going to hear about what you're saying. And Nehemiah doesn't bite. He doesn't fall for this trick. And I love the way that he refers to it, and it almost sounds like you're hearing the news today. In Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 8 and 9, listen to what his answer was. Then I sent a message to him saying, "Such things as you are saying have not been done, but you are inventing them in your own mind." Today they're calling that fake news. And everybody gets all upset over fake news. And Nehemiah is saying, it's not true. So I'm not worried about it. He said, you can say whatever you want to say. And obviously, this was information that Sanballat was wanting other people to know, that it's going to be leaked because the letter's not sealed. And he says, for all of them were trying to frighten us, thinking that we will become discouraged and with the work, and it will not be done. But now, O God, strengthen my hands. Here is the prayer again. The prayer again, as Nehemiah is the man of prayer. All through his writings, we're going to see this over and over and over again. This time it's fake news, and Nehemiah says, we see what they're doing. Make us even stronger. Help us do even better. Strengthen our hands. Verses 10 and 11 in Nehemiah chapter 6, verses 10 and 11, we're going to have more trouble because this time it involves at least one prophet of God and a prophetess. And the prophet of God has whether he's doing what sometimes prophets did in making themselves not available to everyone, and amazing if we just study that sometimes, some of the unusual things that prophets did and the way they did them, God having them do them. But whether he was actually sick, but he's in his house, he won't come out of his house, and he calls Nehemiah, and he says to him, let us meet in the house of God. Let us meet in the temple. Let us meet in the temple. Because in the temple we'll find safety, and the people are looking to hurt you. So you need to know that this is really serious, and so we need to run. You need to run to the temple, go in the temple, and hide there. Now God had said that under threat, people could flee to the temple, but not everyone could go into the inner part of the temple. They had to stop at the altar on the outside of the temple doors, and they could grasp the horns that were on the corner of the altar. And once they were there, they were supposed to have the security and the safety that the temple guards could provide them, and the other temple workers, the people of the tribe of Levi. But they were not to go into the temple itself. I mean, that was very clear. And in the days of Jesus, there were places where the Gentiles could only get so close to the temple. And he was just here for youth forum. Kirk mentioned Sunday morning, the Ethiopian official, he was a eunuch. You know, whether he was born that way or whether he was made that way to be a servant or whatever. He was a eunuch, and the law of God said that a eunuch could not enter, regardless of what kind of purification he goes through. And that was not God discriminating, but he was that was the shadow of the purity that he expects in the lives of Christians today. But Nehemiah's not going to fall for this. Even though he's the governor, he knows that if he goes there, number one, it's going to show weakness on his part. People are going to say he's afraid, and if the leader's afraid, then maybe what are we going to do? You know, we can't go into the temple like he does, or like he did, and since he has no authority to go into the temple, he will have sinned. And so this is all set up. I mean, every time the enemy comes, it's all a setup. You know, we're going to scare you enough into running into the temple, and if that doesn't work, then we're going to use a prophet of God. And this man falls for it. This prophet of God goes along with it. Should have never been a part of it, just like Balaam should not have been a part of it. And there was a prophetess also involved. She should not have been a part of this, but they were. I mean, the priesthood of God. Now, we are the priesthood of God today in the church. Or if you want to look at prophets as preachers are not exempt. You know as well as I. Maybe you even know better than I do that preachers sin. Preachers give in to the things of this world, and they shouldn't. And these men should not have. But Nehemiah does not fall for this, and so their plot does not work. In verse 11 he says, "But should a man like me flee? And could one such as I go into the temple to save his life?" He said, "I will not go in. I will not go in." And so their plan again, their plot is foiled because the man of God that God has chosen to lead this rebuilding of the wall of the city that wore his name will not give in to the world. What a giant this man was. It would have been worth, if we could go back in time travel, it would have been worth it to go back and just spend a week with Nehemiah, or these 52 days that it took to build the wall, and watch this man and listen to this man and see this man. In verse 15, the wall is finished. The wall is finished. Read with me in verse 15. "So the wall was completed on the 25th of the day of Elul, in 52 days. 52 days. They completed the entire wall, rebuilt the gates of the wall from the forest of the cedars of Lebanon that belonged to the king in Babylon, because they'd conquered all of that land. But they've rebuilt all of the wall. It's all secure. They've rebuilt all of the gates and put them back in place. The wall is finished in 52 days. Amazing. Incredible. Because the people had a mind to work. The lesson. Oh, there's lots of them for tonight. The lesson. Don't stop working for God. Don't stop working for God. Don't let Satan deceive us and lead us away from working for God. Don't be distracted. Don't stop working for God. Thank you for your attention tonight.